Hi guys, welcome back to Hanging Out with Lori. How are you today? I hope you are well. I am excited for today's video. This is the Face the Music collab that I do with Nona over at My So-Called Life 1977 and CeCe over at CeCe's Cosmetic Chaos. I will have their links down below. Make sure you go check them out. If you do not follow them already, make sure you subscribe and watch and like their videos. I am excited for this month's song. Nona picked it, and the song is Sanatarium by Metallica. I have already primed my eyes. I have not set them yet because I'm going to go in with a cream shadow first, and that is Ulta Beauty's matte cream eyeshadow in Throwback. Why I picked this eyeshadow is because this song is a true throwback for me. This song came out in 1986 in the height of my high school days. Yes, I am that old. And it was released on the album Master of Puppets. Now, I was a huge heavy metal listener. It was something I listened to for probably the majority of my high school years. Definitely freshman through junior year I listened to it. In my senior year I was definitely focused on other music, but my earlier high school years I was a big metalhead. But Metallica wasn't a band that I followed. I didn't own any of their albums. I didn't have any of their posters on my wall. I listened to them on the radio, but other than that, they weren't on my radar really as a band. And that's not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that they weren't something that I really felt like I needed to have in my life. And in fact, I owned very few heavy metal CDs. I also was really into movie scores, and so or movie soundtracks. And so that was the majority of what I had in my cassette tape vault. So heavy metal, I had a few, so I didn't have any Metallica. But I listened to them and I liked them. They just weren't in my tape case. So when Nona picked this song, I told her, I said, oh my, it's been a long time since I have listened to that song. And I thought about it to see, kind of trying to see how long it truly has been since I listened to that song. I think it was high school, guys, when I listened to that song. High school, which is a long time, a very long time. Okay, I am going to take this Catrice palette. It's the Warrior of the Night palette, and I am going to take this shade right here and put it on my transition. Basically, I'm setting my primer. So music has always been a huge part of my life. I've listened to music my whole life. My mom was very much into classical music, or she listened to the news on the radio. My dad loved classical, but he also liked jazz, big band, things like that. And so I was very blessed to have, my mind was very open to different kinds of music because of that, but I also played the piano, which definitely gave me a love for all different types of music. I mean, I played a lot of classical, but I also played show tunes. I did this one it was chopsticks, but it was a very difficult chopsticks, and it was a duet with my piano teacher. I had just switched to her, and she had a recital come up, and so we played this chopsticks. And trust me, it was very hard. So as I got older, you know, the kind of music I wanted to listen to, of course, changed, as it does with all kids. They kind of want to listen to what's going on, you know, what's hip. I am going to take, what am I going to take? Am I going to take that? I have on this wrap skirt that is brown. So I was going to take that purple, but I don't think I'm going to. Well, maybe I'll take this. I think I'm going to take this red right here, and I'm going to just put it in my crease. So I've never used this palette, and why I pulled it out, I pulled out 3 palettes actually to use for this look. I don't know if I'll use all 3, but we'll see. Anyways, I pulled them out because they all have the word warrior in the title of the palette. This one is the Warrior of the Night, and then I have my 2 Juvia's Place Warrior palettes. I have Warrior and Warrior 2. And you might be thinking, Lori, why did you pull Warrior out for the song Sanatarium? Well, when I first listened to this after Nona picked the song, 1, I was trying to figure out when I had last heard this song, but 2, I was also trying to remember what I thought of the song when it was released, when I heard it as a kid. I have to be honest with you, I am not good at interpreting the lyrics of songs or poems, things like that. I am a very literal person, so to me, songs are poetry to music, I should say. So with poetry, with songs, I don't get the nuances of what they're trying to say. To me, it's literal. What they say is what I get out of it. And yes, that was frustrating for one of my English professors in college. No matter how hard he tried, I could not interpret poetry. I could not interpret a book. And so when I was listening to this song, I was like, yeah, I get it. It's about mental health. It's about someone who has been placed into a mental institution, and it's very true. They aren't locked in there. They aren't inmates. Unless they are court-ordered there, they have the freedom to leave. They have that option. But as I listened to the song more and more and more, I started thinking there's more to this song than talking about mental health. I'm going to take the Warrior 2 palette. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to take it. And I think I'm going to take this shade right here called Dara, and I'm going to, I think, put it also in my crease and bring it down onto my outer V. So in the 80s, mental health had a huge stigma, but it was to the point where people were talking about it. It wasn't just, it was no longer something that nobody discussed like it was prior to. It was being discussed, but if you had the label of a mental illness, you were basically blackballed. It was seriously to the detriment of you to have that diagnosis. If you, as an adult, You know, it made it harder for you to obtain work. If you were a kid in school, you may have been teased before, but you've never been teased like you were once you were diagnosed with a mental illness. And so it was something that was really frowned upon. I remember I battled depression in high school. I've battled it my whole life. I have PTSD, which is a whole other ball game. But in high school, I remember begging my therapist not to diagnose me with, you know, depression. That was what they first diagnosed me with. And it took years for me to be diagnosed with PTSD, but I remember asking that doctor, please do not, well, the therapist, please do not diagnose me. Please do not say I have depression. And they would say it, and then I would fight them on that and say, no, I don't. No, I don't, because I did not want that label. And so when I hear this song, it takes me back to being in the 80s where having a mental illness was a life sentence, or so it felt. But as I listened to the song more and more over this past month, I started thinking that this song is not just about mental health. I started thinking, man, this really makes me think about what's going on in the world at the moment. How we are left to our own devices with something that we cannot battle on our own. We need help to fight COVID-19. We need help to make changes for the Black Lives Matter movement. We need assistance to make the changes in the treatment of minorities. We need help. We cannot do it on our own as citizens. We have to have our government invested in helping us to make those changes. We have to have a government who's invested in finding a treatment for COVID-19, a vaccine for COVID-19. We have to have our government fight with us to have laws passed for treatment, you know, better treatment of minorities. We can be a voice, but we can't do it without them. It's impossible. Our voices can make a change, but we are locked in at some point. Our hands are tied at some point, and we have to pass that baton on to those who can make those changes. I am going to take a mixture of Zama and Jamada and put it in my outer V. So I find this song to have strong parallels. I truly do. That's why I'm talking both about mental health, but also what's going on right now. And this isn't, I'm not talking about it from a political perspective. I'm talking about it from a human being perspective. I'm talking about it from the view that everyone is created equal. Everyone deserves the same rights. I'm going to take the Warrior palette. I am going to take the shade right here called Moimi. I think that's what it says, and I am going to tap it on my lid. I am going to take the shade Ida and put it just in the middle. I took Ida and put it in the middle. I had to build up the outside again, and I didn't like it. So I took the shade Bakina, I think is what it says, this gold right down here, and tapped it on my middle. I'm not sure if I like it. We'll see. I may have to refix it. I'm loving the red. I am loving the red. It's just the shimmer shades I'm struggling with. Let me go do the rest of my face and I will be right back. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to fix that lid. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright guys, this is my final look. I'm not sure what I think of it. I don't like it at all. But this is it with Sanatarium. I really think that for me this song really ties in to both individuals speaking about the individual battle, but also our societal battle with how we view mental health, how we view the rights of others, how we treat each other, and the reminder that, you know, we all have our struggles in life and we don't know what each other's struggle is, so be kind. That's the end message for me. So go be kind, be understanding, be loving, but most importantly, be safe. And I will talk to you soon.